There's a thin line between discipline and abuse, especially when it comes to how we handle children. So if you're a parent or a guardian, this video is for you. Indeed, there's a thin line between discipline and abuse. So as parents, we need to be careful when we are disciplining our children. Sometimes you might think you are disciplining the child, yet you have crossed the line, you are now abusing the child, because we are saying there's a thin line. So we need to be aware, we need to know what's the difference between discipline and abuse. The difference between discipline and abuse lies in the intention, lies in the methods used, lies in the emotional impact that the actions that we are taking as parents or guardians are going to leave on the child. So I'll begin by explaining the intention. Let me start by discipline. Discipline is meant to correct the child. Discipline is meant to bring moral lesson or to teach the child what is right and what is wrong. That's discipline. Discipline is done in love. Discipline is done with care. Discipline is done with guidance. So whenever you are disciplining the child, do it in love, do it with care, do it with guidance. That's discipline. On the other side, there is abuse. Abuse is done out of anger. Abuse is done out of frustrations. Abuse is done out of the need to exert, the need to control. You want to control the child too much. That's abuse, that's not discipline. So whenever you want to discipline your child, remember the intention. Discipline is done in love. Discipline is done in care. Discipline is done so as to guide the child. You are trying to correct the child so that the child will know this is right, this is wrong. That's discipline. Once you are doing something out of anger on the child, once you are doing something out of frustration on the child, you are no longer disciplining the child. My brother, my sister, you'll be abusing the child. So as parents, we need to be very, very careful. Then the methods that we use when we are disciplining our children. Discipline comes from a rational mind. Discipline uses reasoning. Discipline, we are trying to come out with constructive methods that builds the child. We are trying to tell the child that this is right, this is wrong, and as you are doing that, you are doing it with reasoning. At the end of the day, the method that you are using when you are correcting the child, when you are disciplining the child, it must be a way that will leave the child knowing what is right and wrong. It must be in a way that after you discipline the child can still feel loved. The child can still feel that she or she is supported, he or she is loved. That's discipline. Then on the other hand, we have abuse. The methods that are used when a child is being abused. There's physical harm. Just like you are a parent, you want to beat the child maybe because she came home late, she came after 8 p.m. The way you beat the child will tell if you are abusing or disciplining the child. If your method of disciplining the child leaves physical harm on the child, you need to find ways. You need to revisit the way you discipline your child and do it in a way. It's not always that we have to cause physical harm on the child. That's not right. If you're a parent or a guardian, that is not right. Another thing, that abuse comes with physical harm. Abuse comes with emotional manipulation. You destroy the self-esteem of the child. You destroy the mental well-being of the child in the name of disciplining. Parents, we need to be careful how we discipline our children. Let's look at the emotional impact of actions that we take as parents in discipline and abuse. When you are disciplining the child, after disciplining the child will feel loved. The child will feel corrected. the child will learn ways how to improve himself or herself from what he has done. But when it is abuse, at the end of the day, you break the child. You destroy the self-esteem of the child. The child feel rejected. The child will feel unloved. The child you are destroying the child in the name of disciplining. So as parents, we need to be careful how we discipline our children. When we are disciplining our children, let's discipline our children with love. Let's discipline our children with patience. Let's discipline our children with kindness. Let's discipline our children with firmness. If we do that, our children will still love us. They will still learn. They will still be corrected, but we are doing it in love. And when we are disciplining the children, it's important to listen to the child's side of the story. Before you start beating the child, listen to the children's side of the story. It's important, and it's very, very important. Let's try to listen to our children before we start disciplining them. And when we are disciplining our children, let's explain to them why you are disciplining them, so that they know the consequences of the mistake they would have made. Let's explain to them, I'm beating you because you came after 8 p.m. in the house. This is wrong because out there it's not safe. If you are there out after 8, a lot of things happen. Explain to the child why you are disciplining the child. And sometimes it's not always that we have to beat the child as a way of disciplining. Sometimes sit down with the children, teach the children, explain to the children. That is enough. That's a way of disciplining your children. Not all times where you are supposed to beat the children. Sometimes you just need to explain to the children, teach the children what is right and wrong, explain the consequences that comes with whatever actions they will be taking. That's discipline. So as parents, let's try to discipline our children in a way that they feel that we love them, they will feel respected, they will feel that they are corrected. And if we do that, they can themselves as children, they will find ways to improve themselves. That's what is discipline. On the other hand, abuse will break the child. Remember, these children, they are not there for us just for them to be beaten, or so that, or they are learning machines. No. Remember, as we are disciplining the children, we are teaching them how to love. We are teaching them how to trust. We are teaching them how to respect from the way we discipline them. So that's why sometimes you would find that a child who is coming from a family or where the parents are abusing them, the child would also want to be a bully, be it in school. He or she can't associate with others in a good way. Why? Because of where he or she is coming from. So it's important, parent, the way you discipline your child, you are also teaching the children how he or she is going to love, respect his or her own children or other people in the society. So we need to be very, very careful, parents. Let's do it. So as parents, let's correct our children with kindness and firmness, not cruelty. Yes, out there maybe you come back from work, you are frustrated because of what was happening at work, the boss was shouting with you, but don't make your children the punching bag. Don't take it on your children. Let's love our children. Let's correct them in a way that will make them feel loved, corrected. That's disciplining our children. As parents, remember, there's a thin line between discipline and abuse. It's important to discipline our children by explaining them, teaching them, so that they know the consequences of the mistakes that they've done. Sometimes it's not always beating which comes as a way of discipline. Talk to them, teach them, explain to them, so that they know what is right and what is wrong. Remember, discipline builds a child, whilst abuse breaks the child. Let's build our children. Let's love our children. Let's correct our children in the proper way.